pace and have that sort of momentum going into the rest of this bracket. So we'll see how things play out.
Look at this push coming in from Sentinels right now, all the way into mid. Rooney might get caught by multiple players.
He's got to be careful here. It's nothing other than a ghost.
And you don't really know how many people were there as they broke that turret. It's really difficult for you to tell if you're Rooney, especially if you're not going to continue jiggling, which is a risk to take.
Once that wall goes up, that should be the cue for, yeah, the Asher started to be used, but they're going to push him off. And the Harbor Wall, the only thing that's keeping him back for now.
Now, almost could have gotten some spam done. Maybe a kill found from Leaf there. I like the confidence from him. He's the one who comes out a little bruised, though, from it, so they're going to have to look for a little bit more. And this 9 from 10s is huge, huge value.
I mean, there are 8 players all huddled in to this little back hallway, and you know it's going to be a bloodbath. The flash off the swing, and it's a couple kills going in favor of Cloud9 as they try to go for more, and they succeed.
Yeah, these frenzies are really good at following up right now. Saucy's in a world of hurt.
Zekin's in a really good position with make a play out of it because Saucy's gotten it back to normal. But Zekin falls, and it all goes down to Saucy. 17 HP, no armor to it, nothing but a classic, and it will not stand.
A good attempt from Saucy. But the follow through from Cloud9 there was so good. And that's what I was talking about. From Leaf's dash all the way up to looking for a kill through the smoke with the Trailblazer, those sort of things are a sign of confidence. And you heard the Deaths talk about it a lot. Looking to see if these guys are going to come out swinging, if they're going to get energy into Jake and Rooney.
Yeah, what's the form?
How are Celsius and Leaf going to be injecting that pace into it? It's a great call. This is what Cloud9 really capitalized the entire season on. So very important to see that start right here. Little classic. 16-second freeze. This is strategy, actually. No,
for us or for them? Yes, this is the ever-loved Tech Pause. As soon as we get info on what the delay is, we'll keep you all updated to get back into the action. But yeah, I want to go back to the conversation we were having, Bala, because there is, I mean, it's been so long since we've seen Cloud9, and there are so many questions about what Cloud9 are we going to get? Are we going to get the regular season 7-0 or 7-1 insane run that they put together, or is it going to be the playoffs version?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because that's super difficult to tell right out the gates. I mean, even one round down, we're looking into this for the entire series long. So I think it's super crucial. Are we going to get that playoff Leaf, or are we going to get that regular season Leaf who looked like one of the best players in the entire season?
Back into the action, being told it was a keyboard issue. It's been rectified, it's been solved, and now we can continue the fun. No buy up for Sentinels. I think Sheriff, 2 Sheriffs, but that's really it for the defensive side.
And look at this flash right now, set up to actually try to flash these 2 players up inside of A main, and it actually nets a kill onto Leaf, who again was trying to follow up with that dog.
That was surprising too. It felt a little delayed, but yeah, just well handled by Marv.
And the rotation coming in from Sentinels is going to be really important. See how they can actually deal with this fast reaction here from Cloud9, going straight down into the KJ of Pancada here.
The timing of this is going to be everything as they peeked on Lux. Saucy hears all of it.
Oh, this flank, it's with 10s too.
Is he expecting the second? Yes, Zeppa was.
That high tide actually placed out as a running, like he's just running, throwing it down. It's definitely on the fly. And it gives a little gap there for Zeppa to play behind, which is really easy to pick off that second kill. That's the sort of thing that with the Harbor, you can have a little bit more dynamic maps and the way that it's split up with the vision blocking.
With that concealment.
Yeah, you see that payoff there. Just a few seconds left in the round. Sentinel's not really with a ton of options.
And just looking to die to the spike at this point. And there's not really, I mean, Zeppa's the guy right now who has 2 orbs away that we could see potentially go for some extra kills, but he's all the way up B-Link right now. And yeah, they're all just going to go down to the spike. If you could have gotten his Seekers online, maybe even just 1 so they could play for the orb later on, that could have been huge.
But either way, 2 is where Zeppa remains on his conquest of getting Seekers online, and Cloud9 sit at 2 as well. Now we're going to see a guns out from Sentinels, though. We'll see how they choose to do this. Are we going to go with light armor on a couple of players? Yeah, rifles the rest of the way.
And where it comes down for this single controller defense from Sentinels is on this B side. You saw a lot of times Marv able to just put 1 smoke, plug up the entire choke where this Molly is right now on the B side. And it was really, really effective at shutting down pushes because you don't need so much behind it. See if that actually gets tested from Cloud9 early, because this is a very favorable spot for the Harbor Viper to go towards. or if it's already a Cloud9 recognizing the fact that that's different now and they can't really rely on that same tool as much.
They've crept their way up here quietly. The turret is there to take contact. You see the nano on the ground and they commit to it. You've already got Leaf who's dashed back sight. Keep a close eye on Rooney here on the minimap. He's the one who's going to be able to cover the rotations. He may get a jump on this if the timing is right.
Look at Celsius there as well, plugging the gap in his high tide. He missed the wall initially. It didn't cover spawn.
Continue to push forward as kills go back and forth. How much further does Leaf explore? How much more space does he get? Because you've got Marv, who's currently sandwiched right now between Rooney and, well, Leaf is dead. They get the kills they need.
And Celsius is stuck in a really tough position right now with Rooney on the flank. He has to buy time, but Rooney's even spotted by the alarm bot, still gets it out though. It's still a plant for long.
That was the Spectre, but it's not going to be able to find any more damage. Sentinels find themselves around.
A very good anti-bonus. And allowing Cloud9 to get onto that B side, but then still able to deal with the pushes that are coming on top of that extra layer that we actually saw on the A side early on in this game. Sentinels doing key work when it comes down to the retake. And you could tell that was kind of the idea against 100 Thieves yesterday. Kaplan spoke after the game how they weren't really getting what they were practicing off. But it looked like that was always the intention, to let players come onto the site and really focus on the retakes.
Clear to engage.
So I'm curious if he was intending to talk about that in terms of the retakes itself or actually allowing them on the site. See if there's any more denial coming in from Sentinels.
See this brutal setup that they have in Art. While Zekin takes a few more steps back, cautiously, so he can have a way of escape. And he's well for it too. There are 3 members, make that 4, excuse me, of Cloud9 who are just waiting to pounce. They've already got the harbor wall out. Jet is dashed out onto the site, and now they're gonna follow everything behind this Cloud9 push, with the exception of Jake, who's covering the rotates. They invest the Seekers, they invest taking space in Art.
That's a great fake flash there coming in from Zeppa as well, to allow Leaf to continue to push all the way up, and there's no help because Tense has fallen back through into sewers away from Marv, where they were both playing together earlier on in the round.
Celsius 1 point away from having his ult online, in a position to be able to net it. Look for it off the flash.
That flash is beautiful again to get Celsius off, and now Jake is going for this flank.
Tense is in trouble. Does Tense? No, they don't know. They've walked right by each other. They have no idea. And it's just Tense by himself, so there's a very good chance he gets cleaned up.
Oh, wow.
Or he just gets away.
Wait, that was odd there.
That was
the communication very weird there. Tense clearly fired off a shot, and Jake did not turn around. Instead, now that he's gotten that information, he's going to try to cut him off, but Tense is a little too fast.
He's going to try to Houdini himself out of this round. Can he stay alive? He takes down Jake.
2.8K, he might be able to buy, no. Might have been able to drop a weapon if he gets a second kill there and still be able to buy up some light armor. Instead, he will fall, and Cloud9 will immediately force back another eco from Sentinel. So losing the bonus, not the end of the world, but it's definitely not the streak that they potentially were hoping to get after earning 4 players alive on that first anti-eco.
Yeah, absolutely. First timeout called courtesy of Sentinels. We'll see what the adjustments are out of this, or what it was that Cap saw that made him want to call this as early as he does.
It was really interesting in the series yesterday against 100 Thieves. Kaplan was very light on the timeouts, kind of allowing 100 Thieves to burn some of theirs really, really early. And in this case, obviously, it was some pretty hot starts from Sentinels. This time it's the reverse. So has to get back in there early, has to readjust the game plan. In that situation, I think the follow-up push with those Seekers was not what they were expecting. They were expecting to use those as the execute was going on, and that's probably what they prepped for and why they were playing up in Art. And then as well, when it's such a heavy focus on locking down the middle of the map and not allowing any of those flanks to come through, for it to actually come through later on. Obviously didn't get the kill on Tense, but that definitely is something that you got to patch up as time goes on here.
Now they have to figure out how they're going to patch that up, given that they just have 2 stingers.
The last time on the eco, you saw Tense here on this A site give a really good flash into A main for these 2 players, and it did get them a kill. So let's see if he's going to be able to do that again.
Remember, it was Marv's classic who dealt the blow. that you were just referring to as Stinger this time. Yeah, the setup looks very similar though.
This time he's so far advanced, he's not going to be able to throw such a good flash, but the smoke is set up there too, and the knife didn't garner any information. Look at this dart as well. That's actually just popped all the way down B long. It's getting so much information about what has actually happened over there. Nobody there, nobody breaking the dart, which informs that it's going to be mid-presence, especially with the information you have on that A lobby.
Yeah, it's really interesting too. It seems like Sentinels are very content with giving up this space. Remember their match against 100 Thieves yesterday and how many times we saw Cryo in this exact spot? They continue to give it up. They continue to be comfortable letting TenZ play back and spawn and then pivot around that. What do they do with this advanced setup though as they try to funnel their way out from Art? They still have Zekken who's playing back in A main, but remember, it's just a ghost.
Oh. Marv could have gotten a lot more damage there. He's a little quicker on the trigger because it's two players coming through his smoke. He did a good job of actually avoiding the first player, which was Leaf getting out on the site.
Should be a very clean round for Cloud9. The rest of the way, it's just two members of Sentinels that remain.
One enemy
they do
remaining.
lose one. If I cut a Stinger now, the only thing left standing.
I really like how Cloud9 contacted up through Art there.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Sentinels had so much information down belong, in A main with Zekken's push, despite that fact, and Marv even did a good job jiggling and spotting the fact that they were all the way up Art, but Cloud9 got so far advanced before that information really was confirmed that they were really comfortable going for the hit, and to see Marv specifically being the guy there.
Try harder.
Especially in the last couple of rounds too, where you actually had some Art presence from them. I think Marv's position also clued in that Zekken was an A main. That's why Leaf's able to chase him down so easily in that instance. There really hasn't been a focus on this B side from Cloud9. They're not worried about it at all. Just relying on the advantages that they've kind of gleaned already.
Yeah, and
on the map.
Oddly enough, Sentinels are a bit concerned with it. They've put Zekken down there with the op. You've got Saucy there by to help in case things get a little hairy, but once again, Cloud9 leaning towards A. It's going to be very similar. Contact your way up Art and then pounce. This time they invest the Reckoning, a recommendation to reposition. And it's really just Marv who's back there.
Oh, there's a counter ult coming in here from Spawn, from Saucy.
Oh, he has a couple too many targets to look at. He's been tagged by the first. Leaf 38 HP, he's dead. Had no shot.
But you just used that Hunter's Fury, and Rooney now has his cage ult that he's set up in A main right now. It's so hard to break this. There's not gonna be really anything here from Sentinels to do except try to get these kills and wait it out.
Yeah, do you dare bum rush? Do you sit
Wait,
out time?
you actually have
far.
Oh, you have this Cosmic Divide, despite the fact that Saucy's getting detained right now, and you also have TenZ's ult.
They're gonna have to push past it though if they want to take this fight. TenZ is already fallen. Zekken's on a flank though. He's got the op. Just one around the corner and he falls. How much more can they find though? Time is running short.
This wall is terrible.
And it's brief. It's so dear. Zekken gets another one, but that spike's gonna go off. There's no way in.
Very confused on that wall. It's like they didn't know where the spike was planted there.
It was literally just on the wrong side of what they were looking for.
I mean, there was a moment there where I thought, okay, Zekken coming on the flank. He might be able to salvage this, but oh boy. Wondering what happened there from Marv, if it was a misclick or if it was intentional and he actually thought that the spike was ahead of that wall. That one hurts. And that's one that's gonna frustrate the players and the rest of the teammates here on the Sentinel side. Because you had the tools still, even with Cloud9's lockdown, you had the tools there. Cloud9 is looking really good at picking apart this A site with many different variations right now. And they eventually just get that high tide up and it siphons off TenZ from Marv. Nobody's able to help the anchor on the site.
There is a minor adjustment here. We saw the op in the hands of Zekken in the previous round down towards B. This time they haven't posted up at Art.
And look at what Cloud9 is doing. I mean, they're shifting right away. 3 players while the lurkers are still on either side of the map.
Saucy was close. He does have a Phantom. He's the only one with a rifle in hand. And there it is. You're finding value, but instantly drops.
And Marv almost quick enough there with his star to help out Saucy, but not quite fast enough. And I do like this adjustment. All these B hits that we've seen 2 of them right now, have come not through the main B long area, not through B long, but instead down B link and getting and completely avoiding this choke that you see on your screen right now where the map is, where you just put 1 star down to block it all off.
I mean, in general, it feels like they've done such a good job of just working the middle of the map.
picked up a Vandal. He's coming on the flank, the backside, and the high tide is perfect.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh. And surely that ends up in a like a pre-show segment somewhere.
Oh, no. And he got, I mean, the flash is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just curious of why that high tide was so perfect. It's like he saw him going on the flank and he was already throwing out his wall, so he's like, yeah, I might as well just block him up.
Yeah. Well, the silver lining for Sentinels is they carry the op over again. Zekin was able to keep it in spawn, and remember in the previous round it was stingers and there was one rifle. Now they should have, in theory, a bit more to help cover the flanks and have more of a fight back with.
And Zeppa is having a field day with what just happened to him. And this is now the scoreline that Sentinels was able to achieve yesterday, right? On that defensive side for them as well. So, not looking great if you're looking at those results yesterday and trying to compare them to what's going on right now on Pearl. And this is their map pick. In comparison yesterday, 100 Thieves actually picked this map against them. And it ended up going their way, 100 Thieves, but not without Sentinels really brutalizing them in that first half.
Yeah. You know, having watched it, and I was having a conversation with Marv before the series started, they felt like, and it felt like watching it, that they were just a couple of adjustments away from Pearl going in an entirely different manner.
Oh, absolutely.
So I understand the confidence in wanting to lean into this pick and go back to it, but it just looks very rough against Cloud9 right now.
Here comes finally this full B-long hit.
We've been waiting for it. Highly anticipated. You see Leaf getting tagged up, has to give the space back.
Funny enough, there's no smoke available here for Marv right now.
Yeah.
So they're able to just get through this choke without anything, and that's gonna help.
Paikata's been able to reposition to the other side. He's in a really good spot here to make a play.
They're fighting straight up, flooding onto the site. Marv again this lurk.
Jake is in a really good spot too, though. Positioning on this has been so good, and the two youngsters, the only two that remain for Cloud9, it's just Jake left in this 1v1. He invests the pit, has the spike, up against Second, and Second wins the clutch.
Crazy effort from Jake and Rooney to bring that back, but Second as well. Once that pit goes down, it's actually something that you might be cheering for if you're Zek in there. In that 1v1, especially when the other player has to get the plant down, you have all of the initiative to take fights. And that's why you see Jake trying to fight outside of his pit so he can get some information on what exactly Zekin is doing. That nets Zekin the Red Bull clutch. Very, very important round. One that could have swung everything for Sentinels here. Let's see if that's actually the case. A flash with the knives.
Oh, it's aggressive. Oh, the spam.
Not quite synced up there for Zekin. He had the call from Tens, but went a little too fast. Let's see if Tens can make up for it now with the Guardian.
A little Demon 1 cosplay out with that Guardian. Looking for the second, finds it. Zeppa is beneath him though. He's taken care of. He's dealt with. The spike's gonna rotate out, and they've found some space. By Jake across the middle of the map. Can he make a play? Because surely they have no idea where he is right now. Tens is gonna be the first.
Tens is normally the guy who should be aware of sewers. You saw him playing super passive here, jumping in the window. It's a free kill. Spike's not even coming over here. Jake is just trying to cause as much of a diversion as possible. The problem here is Paikata's not moving, and his turret is still up right now on this B side. Yeah, it's not going to get broken here.
There's nothing to remove that variable. The safety valve out from Sentinels is still there, and it's going to do its job. They've spotted one and surely assume that's where the spike is, so they start to funnel over. You see the three remaining members of Sentinels lean towards the western side of the map. The spike committed and planted.
They are getting this long plant with this cage out. They have to fall back. Look, Jake has an actual cubby right now, and it's very important because there's a wall here from Astra if they do need to put it down.
The drone does spot him though. They have a really good idea of his position. It's gone 1 for 1.
That's the Cosmic Divide down too.
Zealous is not able to deliver in the 1v2. And that's another round for Sentinels.
Huge clutch from Zekin, followed up by this really nice round out of Tens. Despite losing that first kill and not getting the pick there, be able to actually recover this.
Wow.
Jeez. I mean, you're right. In recent memory, it's Demon 1 with the Guardian, but the original gangster on that Guardian
Yeah, that is true.
is absolutely tense. Just such phenomenal aim, and he's showing it too. Yesterday, we were thinking, Sentinels, this might be it. This might be the last chance we get to see them this year. And now, Tens and Zekken have shown up. In these last 2 rounds, it's crucial that they actually end up this half at least somewhat competitive.
Right, yeah.
Given their weak attack side yesterday. 6-3 is not the scoreline you wanted to start out with, but it's definitely salvageable. It's definitely something that could be even at the end of the day. And Cloud9 has kind of given up now on some of the really nice things that they were doing at the beginning of the half, right? Especially on that A side. Just being able to funnel out and get so many picks dry and really quiet, and then hit split off the players on Sentinels. I think since Zekken has got that op up, it's been a little harder for them to communicate exactly how to go for it. Because you can see they've been avoiding him very well, kind of randomly, but still.
But successfully.
Yeah, successfully. Whereas the start yesterday that Zekken had was like 12-1 or something like that.
I mean,
once he got that op on, it was crazy good.
Yeah, he had a field day. Not nearly the same performance this time, but still has the same weapon. So we'll see if he's able to convert with it. Round 10 on the board, Zeppa with the Seekers. Marv has that Cosmic Divide to work with too. The op that we were just referring to, taking space down A main with Stassi close by. And it is Leaf who's here by himself. A drone going forward, and I don't know that it's going to spot anyone. No. And so they leave Zekken here. And surely off those Cloud9 understand there may be a timing window to play around.
That recall.
Drone spotting none! Holy smokes.
But it's a great trade from Leaf. So they're able to actually get back this control, and this wall is what I'm talking about. This time, you don't have Marv on the site because they've swapped Pankata all the way into mid.
Plant the spike.
And we will have another one of these post plants.
Stassi's playing really far back in spawn here because of that Hunter's Fury. As you see him using now, I don't think he got, he did get one tag there.
And that was potential spam there onto Leaf too, so a dangerous position that he actually nets himself. Somebody's got to break the start for Leaf.
It's a late dart. Looks like it was cleared. But the shock dart's there too. They know where he is. They want to push him. And it's a shock that's cleaned him up.
And this time the Cosmic Divide is good. It's actually blocking off the spike in this instance.
And they find the success here. The flash shot from Tens, and Stassi gets 2. The 3rd on the round, leaving Jake alone.
That's a much better approach on that round. And it's exactly the same pieces.
Yeah.
The only thing that was missing was Rooney's lockdown on the other side, up into A main. So you can see even with some extra time there, how beautiful that retake is going to be. That combination against that plant is just brutal. Everything blocked off. Oh, and a great shock too from Stassi.
There were 2 that he dumped in there. The second one was the one that got the kill, but you're right.
Remember, he got that ping because it was Hunter's Fury early, so he knew where Leaf was. And then with the follow-up of them breaking that dart, you can tell. He's like, yeah, somebody's still there.
He's still there. Yeah, absolutely.
2 more rounds in the half. Now we're finally seeing Cloud9 actually forced down to a light buy here. This is where they were super successful in the regular season. Ooh, damage taken on the Jet. That's an updraft double knives play to try to find Zekken on his op.
They found him. Not via the updraft, but that gun rattling off will confirm the suspicions. And they continue to try to work this middle of the map. Use the Trailblazer to get into space and leave Leaf there. And remember, this was one of the things that they found so much success on A, from exploiting this area of the map. They've returned to their old ways. Can they convert around?
Zekken right now is going to get completely isolated here in Flowers. He needs to get onto the site in front of everything right now to actually help out Marv. Here he goes.
Peek out with the and the dash. Takes Jake down. And just waits. You see him daring. See if anyone challenges him. He has a shorty on the other side.
Once again, another key ult here. Tens has his no command available for this retake.
Op still healthy, still in play. And there's that ult that you were just referring to. Marv on the swing, and Zeppa with 2 massive kills. Can Marv keep him back?
Just posted up in flowers there. Zeppa doing such good work.
That's such a close angle, man. A triple fade from the shorty. How is he still alive? Finally meets his demise.
It's good movement there from Zekin. And I mean, heroics to start off that hit. Marv actually successfully gets off the site, but you can tell there's two different ideas on how that approach is going. Zekin's trying to save him while he's going for this, and Marv is falling off. And that's because of what has happened so far in this situation. Marv continuously got separated and isolated.
What a huge 2K from Zeppa, man.
Control on that is crazy good. It's so difficult to get the op into positions like that. So huge props to Zekin. But then you can see how it falters in the retake. And now Sentinels have to win this next round. Oh, we might consider this a possible stomp here from Cloud9. And they've got this Reckoning available now from Zelsis. You saw them use it onto the A site previous. And Saucy's in a position where he could get punished by that.
This time it is from main.
A drone re-clear.
It's got to get cleared. Oh, that saw so much.
They just picked up the orb too. Lockdown as well. A very strange high tide to actually just allow a plant really early. And Leaf is going to go through it.
I mean, he's got the Reckoning to scale up with. He's got the cover of the lockdown, and he's got a kill onto 10.
I mean, there's miscommunication there. 10's not really aware how far Leaf is.
Yeah, he's already netted himself a second one with a third. Possibly. Pancada, oh, it's actually Marv, but Pancada may have found a timing here.
This guy's just farming.
He's tucked behind the orb, and he doesn't land the shots. Leaf's on the courts for an ace. And Zekin's on the other side. He's got the op. Last round of the half. No reason to convert it, and Leaf delivers.
Such a strong player. I believe now the fourth ace of LCQ in the first map here for Cloud9, their first outing in this final tournament of the Americas season. What a round for him, and really a dominant half here from Cloud9. And it all started with a bunch of A hits in succession, and it's how it ends too. 2 rounds in a row for them on this site.
You mentioned that it felt like it was a round they needed to win for Sentinels to keep it competitive, to keep them in it. Not able to do so. An 8-4 half in favor of Cloud9, and Sideshow standing by at the telestrator wall to break down a little something.
I was so impressed with how Cloud9 were playing their attacks and playing their post plants. So I want to walk you through some of their ideas, starting all the way from the pistol round. So we're going to see Zeppa here using his Trailblazer, combining it with that high tide to get Leaf really deep on the site. And what I want to point out is how far they go and how far back they push the rest of the team. So you'll notice here that the Trailblazer is going all the way through that high tide that they've put down themselves and pushing these guys back in art. The people in art are going to feel pressured at this point, and as the rest of the team kind of floods through, they pick the opposite direction to set up a dynamic post plant, go through their own high tide again, and get set up for a very nice setup in secret where they can all play off each other. We'll take a look on the full screen minimap again and show you roughly what the idea is here. I mean, if there's any kind of recon dart coming through, these guys at the back can break it. These 2 players are also going to be playing anti-flash for any KO utility, and the 2 players at the front are just kind of bait. So you'll see Leaf, Zeppa, they can focus forwards. Jake and Rooney have got their backs, and as the recon dart comes through, these guys don't have to worry about it too much. When the flash gets popped, they have players that are able to dodge it. They're able to massacre these guys, and crucially as well, when you look at the way that they're set up, they've already done the hard work earlier, pushing back the players that might be over towards art so that they can focus completely just around this spot. And that's not the only way in which they've been playing the post plants, but the general idea of getting set up into situations and then playing aggressively. So, for example, in another situation, they were able to set up all around this kind of art area, playing aggressive, putting pressure on people, putting them all the way back in mid, and so really denying Sentinels the space that they need to set up the retakes that were working for them against 100 Thieves. A very, very different attack half, and Sentinels are struggling. We'll send things back to Doug and Bala for the next.
Thank you so much, Josh. Very eloquently said, as is always the case for our dear Egg hanging out over there by the telestrator wall. But yeah, again, a lead for Cloud9. They've been able to put together last couple of rounds to get them in this position, and now it's on Sentinels, their attacking side, to see if they can dictate some of this pace, because remember, you alluded to it earlier, they struggled on this half yesterday.
It was a tough one. And I think what actually you saw in the regular season from Sentinels when they kind of picked this map back up when Marv got into the roster, it was a lot of really, really nice lurk plays by both him and Pancada in some instances. I mean, very similar players. But none of that was going for him yesterday. They weren't really relying on it, and that might be kind of a new focus for them in the time between the regular season and now here at LCQ. That's a great pick.
Yeah, interesting that Leaf decided to peek ahead of that. I thought there may have been a flash up from Zeppa for him to swing out from, but that spike is sitting out no man's land right now.
I mean, this wall is so difficult to get through still.
Jake reaches across it, gets a third kill on the round, but Marv managed to scoop up the spike. So they decide to throw the brakes on the round, hold for just a moment, let things settle before they creep forward. Another clean shot.
Fantastic awareness there from Rooney on the gap there in that wall. That high tide, because of the elevation of that little map there, actually bricked out. So Zelsis called it in for him, and Rooney's just peeking right into it. You thought that the player on Sentinels there was going to be able to take advantage of it, but instead gets his head ripped off.
Salsi's waiting to see if anyone challenges. The turret, he's got the shot! So close to hitting the second! But he has to reload, and now with 10 seconds left, he has to commit to the spike. Round far from over there as he gets another shot. How many more of these will you get? He drops down beneath them. He's on the hunt, he's on the chase, and Rooney wins the round.
You thought that might be another vintage saucy moment. Instead, it's the newcomer to the league, Rooney. Still coming up huge. Actually, both Jake and Rooney getting all the kills there. In this situation, Jake did such a wonderful job on this hold.
One enemy remaining.
How can you deal with that? Those ghosts from that range. It's just so good. And you can also see the deficiencies there from Sentinels. Spirits high, though, from the Cloud9 side, and that was definitely something that was starting to falter when it came to playoffs time. Once they got that big first loss after their honeymooning in playoffs to EG, it was a lot more serious. The tone has shifted.
I mean, they just straight up disrespected this early cascade. Out from Zelsis, they pushed right past it. It was so deep, and now the second one, but the thing is, they're already through. Zekken's already made his way out. Tens is gonna follow. Maybe the third wall after him can be the difference maker, or it's Rooney.
It's
with another Sheriff moment.
This is back. The Cloud9 Sheriff's ridiculous. He's just little hip firing that thing at Mac speeds.
It's another pause on the round for Sentinels. They still have the spike.
This was a force. Look at the economy right now. Very low. Pancada with 0 credits.
He's gotten 3. The fourth right beneath him. That one was crispy. Leaf cleans it up, and it's a flawless round for Cloud9.
Just disgusting. Those sheriffs, those pistols, this team is absolutely brutal with them. All regular season, they were the best team with the ecos. They were the best team with the sheriffs. And you actually see Sentinels attempt a Cloud9 moment.
Right there.
Because Saucy got that plant down in the last round. But they get just ripped apart. And that one, I mean, that could be it, right? That decision to force to get them back in this game to tie it up early.
Yeah.
Might come back to haunt them.
This late in the situation, because of that decision, they have pistols here.
And Leaf has the op online as well in the third round of the half. If they keep that up in this round, devastating situation for Sentinels to play into.
Yeah, Cloud9 have just created such a nice cushion for themselves. I mean, they still have a couple of Spectres.
It's addicting. It's so funny that we do that when we have an inspect key, by the way. Bosch in from 10s again. They're not just, it's not clean.
No.
There's always, the pop flashes are always set up for it, but it's either not practiced or something's going wrong with it today.
Yeah, just a little off. I will say, though, we've talked about them a couple of times. The youngsters on the side of Cloud9
have been apart.
Very good. And, you know, we've had this conversation a couple times throughout the season. We were having it on the desk earlier today. They're young. It's a big stage. How will they perform? And it feels like every step of the way, they've answered that question with confidence.
I would definitely agree.
Get out of my way.
As we've watched Cloud9 progress throughout the season, I mean, sure, you look at playoffs and you say, okay, maybe not, right? Maybe that is where the highest pressures, highest degrees of performance required. But even then, it wasn't like these two guys falling into pieces. It was definitely more of a comprehensive fall apart from Cloud9.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even necessarily even a fall apart, right? It's not like they collapsed. They almost went to Tokyo. They were a couple rounds away against NRG.
I believe two rounds, if I'm not mistaken.
Early lockdown used, and I think that's to try to bait Saci into not using his own Hunter's Fury here to cancel it out.
Ults exchange, 1 for 1. Cloud9 with 3 left. And one of them is still on the other side of the map. Jake is still so far removed from the play.
How do you get Leaf active here? This wall needs to be used to get him into that call, I believe. It's about to fall.
He's taking one down. Seconds back there. The cloudburst intended to be one way, and he switched weapons.
Oh, the turret just got broken here from Jake. It's pulling Pekata back. He's low HP. This fight is crucial.
Can Jake take him down? Yes. The first one through. A 2 for 2 turns into a 1v2. Zelsis with the ult. Zelsis with the kill. 18 HP now.
And now you have
on the tap. Daring for the swing. Where's the challenge? There it is. Second reads it beautifully.
Second has been phenomenal in the 1v1s for this team. And today, entirely.
Here.
So good. Almost call him the anti-clutch in those moments because Zelsis trying to put something up. A 1v2 in that situation. And he just ends the chances.
I mean, he waited until the perfect moment. I don't know that Zekin could have played that any better than he did.
Absolutely. And that real interesting interaction at the beginning of the round, right, where they start rushing towards B, that lockdown gets placed instantly, and Saci still uses his ult against it. Now needs to be considered here, because you don't have those same reactionary tools from Cloud9, and you actually need to be proactive against this KO ult that Tens has right now.
Seeing the same double cascade out from Zelsis. The first one goes very deep. There's nothing behind it. And then he takes a step back, drops a second, which is what you're looking at now.
I think that's really intended to try to actually get Saci's drone out before anything happens, trying to drone them through, but instead Sentinels disrespects it and they just go past the cascades that are used early.
You wonder if there's some conditioning involved too, where they have a play set up and they just haven't pulled the trigger on it. Either way, they're pulling the trigger out on towards A. Zekin from up top takes Zeppa down. They have full control.
Entering with his knives while the op is going to be a backup now.
Like a watchtower over the top. Zekin with 3. Looking for the 4th, finds it. Are we due for another ace? Just narrowly missing, but the classic does the job. It's the ace for Zekin, and it's 6 for Sentinels.
He is the fire starter. The clutch in the first half, and now potentially shifting things back again here in the second half for Sentinels. When all looked lost, when it looked like Cloud9 was going to soar straight to match point. What a round.
It's always cold out of him too, man. No reaction, no smile, no smirk, no nothing. But Sentinels still have so much work to do to get back into this map. They're showing sparks, but they don't need a spark, they need a full-on fire. Maybe that play is what gets him there. Off of the flash, Saci getting pushed back.
Zeppa's trying to punish the orb pickup there. Meanwhile, they're pushing down mid, and Jake still finding value again with the shares. Leaf with a follow-up too.
I mean, Leaf's positioning there is just perfect.
Might have been something brewing here from Sentinels, but classic Cloud9. They just rain on what could have been something kindling here. Sentinels. It's the Brazilians to try to bring this back. It's Pancada, it's Saci. The 2022 champions. Saci as well, the guy who's never missed a champions. He's attended every single one.
No way. How?
Got by the turret.
How?
The alarm bought the second layer, but he's gonna be able to sneak by it here on the left, I think. What? There's no way!
30 seconds left.
Putting his eyes on the back of his head, but he can't look forward? Either way, position spotted. Saucy getting one of the kills. They've gotten it down to a 2v3.
Oh, that dart's really deep in the spawn, too. He actually gets a lot of information on what's going on. Pancada's gonna be able to potentially rejoin him, not only through B-Link, but also all the way up long, and it's planted for them. How's the delay gonna happen?
Pancada has 2 nanos. Saucy has 2 shock darts. Could the utility be the difference maker? No, it's a swing out. It's an aggressive one. The wall keeping both of them back. And they fill in the space behind it. There's the first nano. The second, too. But Zelsys has gotten it to half. That's 3/4 of the way now. Unless the spam hits, he's going to take it. He does. The kills come through, but it's a thrifty for Cloud9.
What happened to those mollies?
There's no way they both got cleared out. I also don't know how Rooney hit the shot at the end. I saw that look on your face. I don't know.
That is crazy. I mean, I really thought that Sentinels were going to win the round. I thought those Saucy and Pancada were absolutely in Portuguese mode, bringing that round back from the brink. And yeah, they had the weapon advantage, but it was still a 2v4 at the beginning of that. Yeah, I'm really curious how those mollies missed. Because Zelsys just got right back on him. It's like he was, I don't know, getting off the spike, shooting him. I didn't even hear a shot.
Yeah.
Potentially bouncing off of him or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, that one, scratching my head on that one.
You break that down in a bathtub or something.
Match point from Cloud9. This is kind of what we expected coming into this series. I mean, presumed favorites here in LCQ for Cloud9. Based on their regular season form, the real question was was the playoffs going to be just a blip in the story for them this year, or if it was going to be a recurrence for them? Was this game going to be close? Was Sentinels actually going to present a challenge here against the other North Americans? And here on Pearl, answer is definitely a resounding no. And it being the map pick of Sentinels definitely provides some questions. But either way, game's not over.
Cap perhaps expecting that he can find something in there. We come just on the outside of this late timeout by the Sentinels head coach. You kind of wonder what adjustments will be made. What do you say to your team in that position when you're just 1 round away from losing your map pick?
And they have to get through so many big ults here from Cloud9. Reckoning, the pit. There's some nice ideas for Jake, too, on this map. You can reactively put it down. There's so much. And with only the drone for Saucy to really push anything through that, it's going to be difficult if they aren't able to bait it out early from Jake here.
And that has not been the case. The drone that you mentioned used, pit still in play. Maybe it's Saucy's ult that can find something and make a difference, assuming we get to that point, but for now, nothing but questions.
I'm curious on what the information is that they're actually garnering right now. Are they actually able to locate the position of the Viper? It's been the KJ for the most part here on this A site. We're going to have Saucy ulting on the back line for the execute for Zeka to go in.
All he's doing is splitting the uprights. He didn't tag a single person. Rooney gets cleaned up anyway. But the Cosmic Divide keeps them back for now. It's going to be another fight, just like the pistol. Is this where it all ends? It's actually just Zekin up here, and it's a 1-for-1. Everyone else backed off.
And there is a pit, remember, that can go down to obscure them while they go for a defuse with the Seekers, too, to pressure them. They have to continue fighting.
In the face of the Seekers, Jake's already on the tab. He doesn't even worry about the pit. He got half. Yeah, the gravity wall's been used. He still has the pit as the safety valve. And Zelsys is just going to hold it the whole way. No, he gets stopped. Jake does too. We play another round.
He just gets the spam down. I'm really curious. I mean, after a certain point, you're not dropping that. But you could have for sure once you get that half. You could have for sure before that too, just not quite sure exactly what's going on. But they pushed everybody offside, and the Seekers as well. Should have indicated. They're coming in this direction. Nobody able to fight in front of that right there. Instead, everybody scrambling to get back on that spike. Pressure while that cove is up, and Cloud9 forced down back to an eco, so this game is still very much alive. All those ults that we just talked about, other than the pit, have been spent. The Knives last round, the Seekers last round, the Reckoning from Zelsys last round.
Marv is here. There are a lot. He doesn't get a single one. That was also the only rifle that Cloud9 had. So a rifle donated over. Now in the hands of Xeppaa.
And setting themselves up for the next round too. Rooney one off of that KJ ult. And they're giving themselves the biggest opportunity right now. But there's a split coming in. This is really difficult to hold if you're Jake, coming from both sides here, and this lockdown as well. This Viper's Pit is getting nullified.
It's crazy too, this tool was not available to him in the previous round. But that's gonna be what pushes him off. The pit will subside, and now the action ensues on B. They've gotten out, 10 should be getting the spike down, and he does. One step closer, the 4 remaining members of Cloud9 all huddled up as the last is still rotating in through mid. Second with the Cloudburst, finding some space, tucking away, staying alive for another one. The Sentinels have gotten this thing very competitive. Just a rifle in the hands of Xeppaa now, 2 pistols, trying to keep it around him. And I don't know that they're gonna be able to do so. Celsius with the Sheriff in a 1v3, and he cannot answer the call.
The crazy part about this scoreline right now is it really should be 9-11. Cloud9 should not be on match point based on that random defuse that they got through with the Pancata and Saucy clutch attempt. Other than that round though, it's been 4 for Sentinels in the last 5. That is exactly the same thing that they need to repeat here to bring it to OT.
A conflicting cacophony of cheers from the crowd gets us in this position here. Rooney with the ult. Maybe that's what settles it. There is no counter to that.
He's gonna dash on this
right now. Right, pushing forward in the Cloudburst, off the flash. Woo. Almost betrayed by the cape, but stays alive.
And that was 3 pieces of util there to get 2 out from Sentinels, but some very key ones, the drone and the dash from Zekin. It's not gonna be a key here for them to hit this site. And Rooney does have the lockdown late in this one.
Yeah, and again, there's no counter to that. There is no Hunter Suri. There's nothing that they can really do against it. Rooney just has to get there quickly because they're funneling out onto the site right now.
Oh, planning really deep on the site. You saw Sentinels fighting hard deep in the site for these post plants.
Saucy's down.
They're full committing right now, trying to stay off of that lockdown. But if they get that space, it could be really brutal.
Leaf falling 2. 4v4, there's the ult. He spots him, he sees him. Rooney's still alive.
And this is devastating. Is that nade gonna actually succeed? No, it misses the lockdown.
Just barely. Zekin's not finding any of it.
And guys, the plant is in here. It is completely safe right now.
Can Marvin and Pancata keep it up? Can they keep it alive? One of them detained. Jake has already gotten it to half. Xeppaa cleaning one up 3/4 of the way. 90%, it's done. Pearl goes in favor of Cloud9.
Relatively cleanly as well. So clarity comes. And we're going to map 2 with Cloud9. A pretty decisive victory here on Pearl. Definitely some momentum swings for Sentinels. They can't just rely on those. They really need to come in with good game plans.
Yep.
And